welcome back to Sports Talk. Today we got another college basketball video. We got a lot to talk about this week. There's a lot of changes in the rankings. There's a lot of ranked teams playing each other. There's a lot of good games this week. So yeah, we're just gonna get right on into this. Join the Discord if you want to be a part of these videos one day. Maybe give us some ideas on what to make. I'm gonna change these names. I'm gonna start naming them college basketball rankings. I feel like that will help for these videos to get more views. Leave a like if you're liking these videos. And yeah, we're just gonna um, get right into this. So we have a new team at number one. Um, Now Purdue, they didn't lose, but I decided to make a switch at number one. I put UConn at number one over Purdue. I think UConn has proved themselves more. They really have. They don't have a close game. They beat Alabama by 15. That's their best win. And looking at Purdue, they have some good wins too. I mean, and I these two teams are, in my opinion, far ahead of anyone else right now. They're definitely the top two teams. I could see you arguing for Purdue at one. This was very close. Purdue has a 18-point win over Gonzaga and a 19-point win over Duke. Two great wins. They do have some close games. They have a close game against Nebraska. They have a close game against Davidson. They have a close game against Marquette, who's a good team. They have a close. Nah, that's not really a close game. But yeah, I just decided to do that. I think they're one of these two are two of the four undefeated teams left in the um in college basketball right now. Number three, I think this is probably the best all-around team. This was my preseason pick to win the national championship, and I'm gonna stick with that. Houston, been looking really good. They have one loss to Alabama. Alabama's a great team, but they did just beat Virginia by 8. That really impressive win there. And then Kansas, I mean, they just blew out Indiana, who's a really good team. Kansas has been impressing me. They blew out Missouri and Indiana. Missouri was undefeated when they played them, and Kansas has a win over Wisconsin and Duke, who are good teams. Their only loss is to Tennessee, who's a really good team. Um, but yeah, I think these are clearly, well, maybe not clearly. I think there's 5 teams, and that fifth team is Arizona. I think these are pretty clearly the top 5 teams in the country right now. Arizona has a win over Indiana. They have a win over Tennessee. They have a win over San Diego State. They have a win over Creighton. I know Creighton's kind of fallen off a cliff, but it was a good win at the time. But yeah, Arizona's been playing lights out. Um, yeah, they just beat Tennessee on Saturday. That was a great game. Texas. I don't think they. I feel like they haven't played. Okay, they played Sun. They beat. Okay, so their coach Chris Beard, he got put. He got fired. He got caught on some charges, and he might be serving some time in jail for. I think it was domestic violence. I don't know. Texas. They struggled with Rice, and they struggled with Stanford. So we'll kind of see how they play without their coach. Virginia at 7. Um, let's see. They just lost to Houston. They have a good game tomorrow against Miami coming up. That will be a good test for both teams. Virginia, they have a win over Baylor and Illinois. 2 great wins. And they beat Michigan, not a bad team. Tennessee, we talked about them a little earlier. They just lost to Arizona. But they do have some good wins. They beat Maryland, USC, who's actually turning out to be a really good team, and they beat Kansas pretty badly actually earlier. I think I was on Thanksgiving or around there. But yeah, um, Alabama at 9. They just lost to Gonzaga. So I did decide to keep them a little bit ahead of Gonzaga. And I know Gonzaga just beat them. I probably could do UCLA 9, Gonzaga 10, Alabama 11. I just feel like that's a little too low for Alabama. I think Alabama's still a really good team, and Gonzaga does have 3 losses, so Alabama also has some pretty nice wins. They beat Houston, they beat Memphis, they beat who else? They beat North Carolina, they beat Michigan State. They did lose to UConn, and they did just lose to Gonzaga, but those are two very good teams. UCLA has been on the rise. They've been playing very good as of lately. They should beat Maryland and Kentucky. They blew out both of them. I'm really impressed by UCLA. They kind of had a slow start to the year. They lost to Illinois and Baylor back to back, but they've been um, they've been on the rise as of late, and they've actually really impressed me. I could see them getting higher uh, um, as the year continues. Gonzaga just beat Alabama. Gonzaga is actually a very good team. I didn't really know what to think of them, but yeah, they're a really good team. They've had a really hard schedule. Um, let's see. So how they've played? Okay, so they played 12 games, and I want to see how many games um of like how many of the games they've played have been against teams that are in the top 40 as of right now. So they played Michigan State. They're in the top 40. That's one. Texas. That's two. Kentucky. That's three. Purdue. That's four. Xavier. That's five. Baylor. That's six. And then Alabama is seven. So 7 of their 12 games have been against top 40 teams. They are 4-3 in those 7 games. But that's pretty impressive to me, actually. They've been looking pretty good. And then Arkansas at 12. I don't know if they played. They played. Okay, they played Bradley, but they haven't played. They really haven't played many good teams. Their only loss is to Creighton. They do have a win over San Diego State, but they're a young team. I don't know. I haven't watched much of Arkansas, to be honest. Baylor moving down one. They didn't really do anything to move down one. It's just kind of teams. I kind of wanted to put some teams higher. They did just lose, or they didn't lose. They played a close game with Washington State, but they're obviously a really good team. Duke. They didn't play last week actually. So I did move them down, just to like move some other teams up. Illinois just beat um Alabama A&M. Um, they did have that loss to Penn State last Saturday, but they did beat Texas before that. So again, a team they kind of up and down. Mississippi State is actually undefeated. They haven't lost yet. Uh, Part of the reason why they haven't lost yet is because their 2 best games are against Utah and Minnesota, two not good teams at all. They played Drake this week. Not like an amazing team. They do have a game against Alabama coming up, so we'll see. I do expect them to win that game. And they did just play a very close game with Nichols, so. But if they keep on winning, they should move up. Virginia Tech, 11-1, and very impressive record. Moving up 7 spots. I probably have them a little too low. They really they all went over North Carolina. Their only loss is at Charleston, a really good Charleston team. Virginia Tech's really impressed me. Kentucky just got um just got just well not I mean the game ended as a 10-point game. It really didn't feel like it was kind of a 10. UCLA Kentucky didn't really have I feel like UCLA was controlling most of that game. I mean, it was kind of a close game, but UCLA was really in control for the majority of the first half and the second half. Kentucky did have it close for a little in the second half, but they just could never get close enough. I still don't think they're a good team though. Wisconsin, 9-2, a pretty good record. They have wins over Marquette, Maryland, and Iowa, all teams in the top 40. And they have a win over USC, another team in the top 40, a new addition to the top 40. Their losses are to Kansas in overtime. That was a great game. And then Wake Forest, but they haven't lost in the month of December. They're 4-0 this month, and I don't see them losing. They play Grambling in Western Michigan. So yeah. Um, Indiana at 20, moving down 9 spots. They did not impress me. They got blown out of the water by Kansas. They have lost 3 of their last 4. Um, uh, they, I mean, their best win's probably Xavier, maybe North Carolina. Um, and they have losses to Arizona, Kansas, and who else? Arizona, Kansas, and Rutgers. I don't know what to think about them, to be honest. Um, we'll see how they continue to do. TCU. Sorry, I went a little ahead there. TCU at 21. They're 9-1. They had a rough start to the year, but they are on a 9-game winning streak. Or no, no, no. So, okay, they played close games with Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Lamar. I started to question, okay, are they a good team? I really don't know. Then they lose to Northwestern State. I'm like, okay, get out of the top 40. So they keep on playing. They beat Iowa. I'm like, okay, maybe they're starting to figure things out. They beat Providence. I'm like, okay, I gotta add them back to the top 40. Um, ever since that Northwestern State game, they're on a 7-game win streak. They've been looking good. They have a game against Utah, who's not a bad team, but I do think they'll win. Miami 11-1, a good record again. They play Virginia tomorrow. That will be a great game. Miami's at home. Really see what the really see should be a good game there. Auburn, Auburn I don't know. I don't think they're that good, to be honest. They're they I mean they're 9-2, but the only 2 teams they played, Memphis and USC, they lost both those games. Um, I really don't think they're all that good. Not high in Auburn. Marquette at 9-3. They just beat Creighton. Creighton is 6-6. They've had a pretty tough schedule, but they are on a 6-game losing streak. They started out the season 6-0, and they are now 6-6. You'd like to see them turn around their season a little. I mean, I still do think they're a good team. Their schedule has been a gauntlet, though. But we're talking about Marquette. Marquette's 9-3. They've been playing good. They've been impressive. Yeah. Arizona State 11-1, jumping up into the top 25 this week. It seems like Charleston cannot ever get into the top 25. They've been at 26 for I think 3 or 4 weeks now. I just don't see them. I just don't see them as a top 25 team. But Arizona State, they've been looking good. Their only loss is to Texas Southern, so not a great loss. I mean, it was early in the year. But they did just beat Creighton. They impressed me that game. And this week they play San Francisco, and I don't think San Francisco's that bad. Charleston, um, let's see. Charleston, um, I mean, they just keep on winning. Their only loss is to North Carolina. That was a close game, too. They haven't really played any. Actually, that's not true. They beat Virginia Tech, who is ranked, And okay, that's it. But I mean, they haven't been looking that bad. They've been looking pretty good actually. And I think I said this last week. They don't play anybody the rest of the year. Um, I could see them like I actually could see them winning out. I'm being for real. They don't play a single good team. Memphis, they've been impressing me as of recently. They beat Auburn. I'm like, okay, I put them on my radar. They play Alabama. I'm like, okay, if they win this game, they're gonna be probably top 20, or maybe higher. They play Alabama. They end up losing by 3. That was it. That was a great game. I mean, they both teams in the second half scored 55 points. That was a great game. Uh, tight, a very tight game the entire way through. Um, Alabama jumped out to a 7-point lead with 2 minutes to go, and Memphis started closing it down. They ultimately couldn't get close enough. They ended up losing 91 to 88. Then they played Texas A&M, not a bad team. They were in the top 40 for a little bit. They end up winning. So Memphis, they keep on winning. They could get bumped up here into the top 25 soon. Don't be surprised if you see them there. Maryland has been falling. We talked about this, I think, for the past 2 weeks about their 4-game stretch with the very good teams they play. Um, they played Illinois, Wisconsin, Tennessee, and UCLA. I said if they get out of there with 2 wins, um, so they were undefeated heading into this 4-game stretch. I said if they get out of there with 2 wins or 3, they should be. They'll be looking good. They end up beating Illinois, so good start. But then they lose to Wisconsin, Tennessee, and they get blown out by UCLA. They lost by 27. That game was. I was excited to see this game. I turn it on and it's UCLA up 26 to 7, and then I don't think it ever got back on. UCLA at one point was winning 39 to 11. Um, at halftime they were leading 49 to 20. So that kind of tells you how the game went. The Tennessee game, um, Tennessee was kind of dominating Maryland. They were up 34 to what 17, and then Maryland starts making a comeback here. They get it very close with 8 minutes to go, and it was kind of close for the rest of the game. Tennessee did end up holding on, and then against UCLA, they just got destroyed. So Maryland, I think they're a good team. I kind of want to see how they start to play in the Big Ten, though. They could, yeah. Xavier is always in this range. I think I said that last week. They just hover around in this range. They're 9-3. They've been looking good. West Virginia moving up 4. Let's see. They've been playing good. They're 9-2. I mean, Xavier hasn't won over them, so that's why they're ahead. New Mexico, the only reason they're here is they're undefeated. If they weren't undefeated, I would not have them here. I don't. They haven't played anyone. North Carolina, former #1 team, and last week actually was they weren't even in the top 40. Um, so yeah, the former #1 team fell out of the top 40. They make their return this week at 32. Great win over Ohio State. That game made me mad as an Ohio State fan. They should not have won that game, but they did. They tied the game to force overtime on a buzzer beater shot. Um, who was it? Uh, Pete Nance. Oh yeah, Pete Nance. I have no idea who that guy is, but Ohio State dominated the entire time. Um, North Carolina started to cut it close with about a minute left. They got okay. This is OT. I mean, it was just Ohio State made a shot with 3 seconds left to take the lead, and then North Carolina makes the shot at the buzzer to force overtime. They did end up winning. Um, they've been turning. Speaking of Ohio State, yeah, we kind of just talked about them. I still do think they're a good team though. Iowa and Iowa State both moving down 4 spots, and then we got San Diego State staying in the same spot, and then Texas Tech 8-2. I don't. They haven't played much teams. They really haven't played. They lost to Creighton and Ohio State. Those are really. I don't know if Texas Tech is all that good. They played Creighton, who's 6-6, and they lost to Ohio State. Those are really the only two good teams they played. USC just beat Auburn. They looked good in that game. They also have that close overtime loss to Tennessee, and they have a close loss to Wisconsin. But who else did they lose to? They lost to Florida Gulf Coast, first game of the year. But they've been looking good. They're on a 5 game win streak. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Trojans. Michigan State moving up one, just barely hanging on at 7-4. There's only 3 4-loss teams: North Carolina, Michigan State, and then St. Mary's. I could probably drop them out. Um, there was one team, forgot who it was. I was this close to dropping them, but I decided to keep them in. But Michigan State, I mean, Penn State actually. I want to see what their record is. Penn State is 8-3. Penn State is a sneaky good team. They shoot the three well. Um, and then St. Mary's. But I don't know if they should be in here. I decided to keep them. Um, they just lost to Colorado State. But they have that win over San Diego State and that close game against Houston. I think that's why I kept them. There was one team, though. I kind of want to see. I want to talk about them real quick. There was one team super close to making it in. Utah. Yeah, Utah. Okay, there's actually two teams I was considering. Utah State was one of them. We could talk about them for a second. Utah State is 9-0. Okay, they're actually okay. So there's 5 teams that are undefeated. I actually didn't know they're undefeated. They haven't played anybody, but they are undefeated. And then there was one more, Kansas State. I wanted to see them. They are 10-1, so that's a good record. Um, they'll probably be in there if they beat West Virginia, because they haven't played anyone. LSU also has a good record, 10-1. They have an upcoming game with Arkansas next Wednesday, not this week. So if they win that, though, I mean they could get into the top 20. So LSU may be here next week. Same with um, same with Utah State. I don't know. I mean they are undefeated, but same with what was the other team? Kansas State. Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be the video for today. NBA on Wednesday, and I don't know what I'm gonna do Friday. I We'll see if there's a video. College football is ending, so I don't really know what to do that. You guys could put that in the comments for what you want me to do. But yeah, I'll see you guys Wednesday with Connor with NBA. Those are always fun. And yeah, see you guys. I don't know if I said this. Like the video, subscribe, join the Discord if you want to help. And we'll see you guys Wednesday with NBA.